Okay, matching headings. One of the biggest problems for all students. Matching headings and true false not given probably cause the most confusion. Now, there is no easy way to do matching headings. It takes a lot of practice. You need to learn to separate important information from supporting information. You need to ask, what is the writer trying to say? Why did he write this paragraph? So you can scan through these if you want, but do it quickly. You need to get into the paragraphs as soon as possible. There are some other easy questions. This is not so easy. You could possibly start with these if you wanted to, but I prefer to start with matching headings. It's up to you. If you do matching headings properly, the other questions will be easier. Let's look at paragraph A. You need to look at a sentence and decide what is the most important information in that sentence. This information is introducing the sentence. This information is really explaining the sentence. Very often the writer will say when and where. Usually that is just supporting information. So when you're doing matching headings, you're going to try and focus in on the heart of the sentence. Just see the new important information that the writer is giving. In this sentence, it's this. One thing that helps us here is this little thing here. It's called a colon. A writer will use this to put emphasis on something and show you that something is important information. So when you see this, you should look at what is on both sides of the colon. Sometimes the important information is here. Sometimes the important information is here. So we have a colon in the middle there. This is important and this is important. This sentence is about the greatest achievement of his life. What is that achievement? The exploration of this new land. So next sentence. His goal was to locate the remains of a city called this. And then this is just explaining what this is. So that's what we're looking at here. This whole sentence, or this whole clause, is again saying where this city of Cusco is. So it's more descriptive and supporting information. Here is the important part of this sentence. And then this, which is talking about the Urubamba River, and basically describing this river. So all of this information is just about this river. It can't be the topic of the sentence. These highlighted parts are the heart of the sentence. Now with matching headings, one thing that you want to look out for is repetition. If the writer repeats an idea or some words or uses synonyms for the same thing, it's very good chance that that is the topic of the sentence. What can you see is repeated here? That's probably the topic of the sentence. His goal and his plan. The writer said it twice. That must mean that it's important. Can you see anything there about a goal and a plan? There it is there, the aim of the trip. You should just check with the other headings, see if there's anything similar. This could possibly be a match because they talk about the route that he will take, but they don't say anything about it being a new route. So I would definitely go with 4 for number 1. Paragraph B. See if you can find the important information. This is kind of a conditional, like an if or a when. Usually with conditionals, that's supporting information, and after the comma comes the important information. And then again we see a colon over here. So this track is also important. The two important pieces of information in the sentence are an advantage and a track. They had an advantage over other travelers. What was this advantage? This track. This says why they had the track. It's not important for matching headings. Yes, it can be important for other question types. Don't delete it completely. But for matching headings, it's just supporting information. Next sentence. The important thing to see in the sentence is our friend but. Remember, important information after but. These travelers took this route. They left there and they went across the mountain and rejoined the river there. But they never passed through this area. So the heart of this whole paragraph really is this. There is a new track. An important word recently. A new track had been made. The previous travelers used a different track, but Bingham and his team were going to use this new track. Probably the best clue here is, again, this colon. The colon shows important information right there. So if I was to make a heading for this, I would choose either this and say that it's an advantage, or this and say what the advantage was. Right, let's look at our headings. I'll go through them all now. Different accounts of the same journey. This is an important word for IELTS. An account means a story, a version that somebody told. Bingham gained support. I don't remember. I want to see something about that track or the advantage. A belief, no. A description, no. And there it is there. This is the track, the route, the way that he went. It was a new route. The other travelers took the old route. Bingham and his team had this new track. Published the theory, something about enthusiasm. So feel quite confident that paragraph B is number 6. A and B were not too difficult. With matching headings, there are always some easy ones, some medium ones, some difficult ones. You need to try and find the easy ones first so that you can delete them. In this example, it was A and B, but of course, it's not always A and B as the easy ones. Right, let's look at paragraph C. On this day. Again, talking about the day. The important thing here is that he was trying to arrange mules is donkeys. Enough donkeys. No interest from his companions. Up a hill to see some ruins. Ruins are old buildings. Now a local farmer, blah, 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 blah. This is all just supporting. The important thing in this sentence is the ruins. Up the hill to see some ruins. This is new information. We've never seen hill and ruins before in the passage. So he's going up a hill to see some ruins. The morning was dull and damp, really supporting. Bingham seems to have been less than keen on the prospect of climbing the hill. Again, we see the hill. In this book, we don't need it. He made the ascent. Ascent means climbing up without having any expectations. So this is getting a little bit more difficult. If I were to make notes about this paragraph, what would I say? I would say he was going to climb a hill, but what else? What else do they repeat here? Hill there, hill there. This thing about the donkeys, it's not relevant. No interest, less than keen, without expectation. And that's the repetition again. No interest, the companions had no interest, he was less than keen, and he didn't have expectations. So the whole paragraph is about climbing a hill, but he wasn't very keen. He didn't have expectations. He wasn't enthusiastic. Different accounts, no. Support, no. Belief, no. Description, no. Publisher's theory, no. And there it is there. He had a lack of enthusiasm. I'm surprised they didn't say anything about the hill. I thought they would say the hill. I thought the topic of the paragraph was about the hill as well, but they left it out. More about the fact that he was less than keen. He had a lack of, less than enthusiasm, keen. No interest from his companion, so that's not really relevant. It's actually these two pieces of information that they used. It was about him climbing a hill, and he was less than keen about it. They could make a heading out of this one. The problem with matching headings is often it's actually someone's opinion. Sometimes I disagree with matching headings. I don't think that what IELTS says is that heading is a heading. I think it's something different. That's why matching headings is difficult. It's often someone's opinion, IELTS opinion. This next paragraph is not an easy one. There's nothing here really clear. There's no real repetition or anything that can really help us to see the topic of the paragraph quite easily. I think you should notice all of the linking language. It is kind of like a process paragraph, except it's not a process, it's a story paragraph. We will see process paragraphs in other readings. This one, the linking language is just telling you it's a story. So it seemed like an unbelievable dream, this whole approach that he writes about. Probably a little bit of repetition there to tell you that this is he's describing this approach, he's writing about it. If we go to our headings, that's a possibility, because an account is when somebody tells a story. But I don't see something about different and the same, two different accounts of the same journey. But that's a good possibility. I don't see support or belief. That was there definitely. He's not publishing it yet, he's just describing it. And this one is already done. So I feel pretty good that the purpose of that whole paragraph was just this description. They use the word there. But the better thing to notice is all of this linking language that tells you this whole thing is a story or a description. So D, I'm happy with 5. Now it starts to get more and more difficult actually. Please notice the however there. That's going to help us a bit more in this difficult paragraph. It all hinges on this velocity of the Incas. What is that? That is his book. We saw the book over there. So that book is a work of hindsight. And this is advanced English. You probably don't know what hindsight is. Hindsight is when you look back and tell a story. So this paragraph is actually comparing his book, which he wrote in 1948, and his journal entries of the time. This is just all a description. There is a bit of repetition in this paragraph. Slow appreciation, gradual appreciation. He said little about his discovery, and he didn't realize the importance, or he didn't realize the use. So in fact, the topic of this paragraph is, at the time, he didn't realize how important it was. He appreciated it slowly. He said little about it. He didn't realize the importance. He didn't realize the use. But there is no heading like that, and that's the problem. So we need to find something. Is it an account? Possibly. Something about support? No. Common belief? No. And publishing his theory? No. So when you get to the more difficult matching headings, you don't look at the paragraph and try and find the heading. You look at the headings and try and see what is the closest. You delete the ones that are definitely not that paragraph. And then that just leaves us with this number 1. different accounts of the same journey. It's a difficult heading. I would have said the heading is that he didn't realize the importance. But they say at the time he didn't realize the importance, and then in his book he did realize the importance, I think. So it's two different stories about the same event of when he discovered these ruins. A very difficult paragraph. Paragraph is not too difficult, but they made the heading really difficult. So we would have to just go with number 1 for E. Maybe that one you can come back to later. This next one is probably the most difficult one. I don't want to bother you with it too much. I don't agree with IELTS. I think the topic of the paragraph is he tried to prove his belief, but this is kind of a but. He was wrong. He was inaccurate. But IELTS just takes that and they say that that is the topic of the paragraph, and it's not. It's wrong. This is all about Bingham's belief. He wondered. He had a vision that this was the last city of the Incas. This is all about his belief and his vision. IELTS says it's about publishing, and it's not. So that's what happens with matching headings. It's somebody's opinion. So really, I don't like that one. And then the next one, it's a bit easier. This paragraph you would probably just skip, leave it to last. There's a lot of different information there. The next paragraph's a bit easier if you know to look for, if you can recognize the structure of this paragraph. It's a question-answer paragraph, a fairly common paragraph type. They provide a question and then they provide the answer. Here's the question and here is the answer. So all of this we can see as question, and all of this is answer. And of course, which is more important, the question or the answer? The answer. So that really tells us what the topic of the paragraph is. This idea to answer this question. Nothing about Bingham there. Possibly that. And Bingham Publishing, no. So it is a difficult paragraph, but if you've done all of these others correctly, you can see quite clearly common belief, an idea which has gained acceptance. Many people, wide acceptance. Wide acceptance means many people agree. So it is a common belief. It is common. Many people agree with it. So paragraph G is number 3. Then you will go back to this paragraph and just see if there's anything you can find. Really, it's a really difficult one. Is there anything about him gaining support? Or is there anything about him publishing his theory? There's nothing about him gaining support, so we just choose this one. And that's the end of the matching headings. Not a very easy matching headings. It is a reading passage, 2 matching headings, so we didn't expect it to be easy. I think if you get 4 out of 7 here, you've done pretty well. And that is possible. Maybe then, just by looking at the headings, you can guess some of the others. Right, let's move on. Okay, so next we have true, false, not given, and we have complete the sentences. So the best idea is quickly try and do these 2. Hopefully they're 2 easy marks. Then we'll move on to the true, false, not given. Right, so we know what to do. We're going to scan. What are we going to scan for? Urubamba Valley. It is in both of them. You probably shouldn't scan for this. Why shouldn't you scan for this? Because that is in the title. It's the topic of the whole passage. So it's going to be everywhere. So don't scan for it. It's there. And it'll be somewhere at the end here as well. It's even there in the last paragraph. So don't scan for Machu Picchu, Urubamba Valley. Right, so let's scan for that. There it is there for the first time. There again. Keep on scanning though. Often they will just call it the valley, and it's still the same valley, so you should highlight that. And there it is again. After that, I don't really see much of it. Scan to the end quickly, but already I feel quite good that the answers are somewhere over here. Right, now what else will we scan for? We know more or less where it's from. What else will we scan for? Definitely that. We won't scan for his name because it will be everywhere. The track for transportation, and then also ruins. There's not much in this question, so you might want to look a little bit more, maybe look at the verb. He found out. Right, let's find these, and we know where track is. We did it in matching headings. We saw that it was a very important part of the paragraph. Transportation, I don't see. Found out and ruins. Ruins is there. Okay, so I have a pretty good idea of where my two sentences are. Now, transportation. Can you see the transportation? That's to be brought. To bring something, to transport something, it's close enough. What is the question asking? What are we looking for? Noun, verb, adjectives. The transportation of something. Something was transported. So we're looking for a noun. It can be a singular or plural, we don't know. What did they transport? Be careful, I think many students will choose this. That means donkeys. It was transported by mules. It wasn't the mules which were transported. What did the mules transport? What did the mules bring? And there is your answer there. Rubber. Shouldn't be too difficult. Alright, next. He found out about the ruins from. Where do you find something out? Where do you learn about something? It can be a person, maybe it can be a book, maybe it can be a website, that sort of thing. This helps us. We know now that we are looking for a singular noun. And we know where our sentence is. His companion showed no interest. We want to see find out. He found out. It's not really there. It's the other way around. This person told them about it, so they found out from him. We only want one word. We know we're looking for a singular noun. There is our over there. So he was a what? A farmer. Quite simple. So if you can find those two sentences quite quickly, then you can find those two answers quite quickly. Okay, so we know what to do immediately. We're going to scan, find where they take these things from, where they come from. South America is great. This is great also because we already know where it is. We know, because we did matching headings first, we know all about where this paragraph is. It shows why it's useful to do matching headings first. There's not much here, and in 23 and in 24 there isn't so much, but maybe you can remember from matching headings where that was. We looked at that paragraph, and in this last one, maybe that, but I would also like to do that. Alright, let's quickly find those. South America is there. We're talking about this route and this valley, so I'm quite confident that the second one will come from this paragraph. Can you remember where that was? We looked at it quite closely. It was in paragraph E. Understand the significance, realize the importance, appreciate the achievement, realize the use. Remember I said that's actually what the topic of this paragraph is. Alright, so that one's there, and then we're looking for return, theory, evidence. Return is there. That's probably the theory, the big idea, to prove this belief. So that's enough about theory. There's no evidence, but prove. You need evidence to prove something. Please notice this word, this, it's talking about the big idea. Again, as I said, that's what I think the topic of this paragraph is. IELTS just said it was this. But yes, that's their opinion. Right, what do we do next? We're going to examine these, see if we can find any circle words. In the first one, he went or he didn't go. There's no circle word. In the second one, there are circle words. Can you see them? It's that, the most common. Was it the most common route? Was it the least common route? Don't we know? Remember, we did in the cork reading, the thickest bark in the world, the most common. IELTS likes to do true, false, not given with this. Was it the most? Was it the least? Or was it thicker, more? They play with those a lot with true, false, not given. 23, can you see where the circle words are? There it is there. As soon as. With true, false, not given, IELTS often asks questions about time. Did something happen before, after, during, immediately, never? So we're going to see, did he understand the significance immediately or later? This one, there is no circle word there. Right, so 21. He went to South America to search for Inca City. Very straightforward. Did he or didn't he? Maybe he went to search for something else. Maybe he went somewhere else. He went to South America, and this is our sentence. His goal was to locate the remains of a city. He went there to find a city. So I think that one is pretty straightforward. As you can see, this was very important information. Remember, we highlighted this when we were searching for the matching headings. His goal, his plan, his aim. Why did he go there? To search for this city. So I think that's quite straightforward. We can say true. Now, he chose this route because it was the most common route used by travelers. Was it the most common used by travelers? We should try and find travelers, actually. So we know this paragraph very well. We did a lot. Here's travelers. And as I said to you before, important information after the word but. The word travelers should be in here. The travelers never passed through the area. The question says it was the most common route used by travelers. The text says they never passed through that area. They never used that route. So that's why this is false. Great. Next, 23. Did he understand the significance immediately or later? And we know it was a gradual appreciation. Gradual means slow understanding. He didn't realize the extent, nor did he realize this. So it wasn't immediately. Probably this word is your key word. That means slow. He realized it slowly. So no, he did not realize it, understand it immediately. Again, false. If you're quite sure about this, and this, true, false, false, then that means this will be not given. But maybe you're not so sure about these. He returned to find evidence to support his theory. He returned. Yes. But it doesn't say anything about finding evidence to support his theory. There is a theory there, but there's nothing about evidence. There is proof, but that's for 40 years. So we don't know if he returned there specifically to find evidence. Because I'm confident about these three, I'm pretty confident that this one is not given. All right. So, again, not easy, but if you did the matching headings well, spend a lot of time on matching headings, you could go through these quite quickly. Not very difficult to get, maybe 10 out of 13 for this reading. Great. Let's do the third and final reading of this test.